Hey guys, welcome to this week's Crosscheck Check-In, where we bring innovators and disruptors from throughout our ecosystem to tell us a little bit about their journey, how they built great teams to accomplish great things. So I'm Mike Fitzsimmons, CEO and founder of Crosscheck, where we've pioneered human intelligence hiring, which is the platform for talent leaders to build diverse, winning teams. But enough about us. We want to focus on today's guest for our check-in, John Shuster. So we've got a special guest with John. As many of you may know, John led the U.S. men's curling team to gold at the 2018 Winter Olympics. This is the first American team ever to win gold in curling. He also won a bronze medal at the 2006 Winter Olympics in Turin and has competed in 4 straight Winter Olympics and 8 World Curling Championships. His post-Olympic appearances include The Tonight Show, Good Morning America, and even curling a puck to center ice on NHL games, and throwing out the first pitch at the Minnesota Twins home opener. I think John has also even attended every event imaginable, from White House state dinners to the ESPYs, and who knows what else. He's a husband and father of 2 kids, one of which he has to pick up after this interview. And when he's not hanging out with his family or busy working, you'll find him fishing. So please welcome John Shuster, coming to us live from Duluth, Minnesota, for today's segment. Hey, John.
How's it going, Mike?
It is awesome. So I was fired up to have you on this show for so many reasons. I mean, I just love your story, and I think you can be an inspiration to all of us that are out here trying to build companies, build teams, and ultimately win. I think your path to Olympic gold was such a crazy journey, and it is so not unlike company building. There's ups and downs, there's dramatic turns, but at the end of the day, if you have a great team and the fortitude to win, you can grind through and accomplish your goals. So with that said, we just want to dive right in and have you introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about your background, and a little focus on how you got into this thing called curling. What the hell is it? And tell our audience who isn't familiar with the sport everything they need to know.
Oof. Well, I hope we have a lot of time, but no. Yeah, curling is one of those interesting niche sports. I'm from northern Minnesota. I live in Duluth now, but I'm from even further north. I'm about an hour from the Canadian border up on the Iron Range. And our towns up there all have curling clubs, which is a sport you see, most people only see every 4 years on the Winter Olympics, but we have World Championships every year. And there's lots of clubs around up here in the north, as we say. But my dad curled in the league, so I kind of knew what it was. And my small town of 5,000 people had a curling club. So and it's a big basketball town. We're like the Hoosiers. Look it up. Chisholm, Minnesota, famous for their basketball. But I played basketball until I realized that wasn't going to be something that I could pursue for a long time. And that's when I gave curling a try. And that was like 6th grade. So I didn't start young. I wasn't one of those people out of the womb that was playing my sport. But I treated it like a legit sport where I wanted to see what I could do with it my entire time through high school. And I didn't win anything other than junior bonspiels throughout my high school career, but when I got to college, I was definitely ready, and I made it to my first national championship on the junior ranks my freshman year of college, and that was 2002, and from then, I have a lot of national medals and 4 Olympic appearances, so it's been a whirlwind.
That is awesome. So in the business world and as an entrepreneur and startup guy, I'm always asked for my elevator pitch. For our audience that doesn't really know the sport of curling, give them the elevator pitch. What the heck is curling? How does it work? How do you win?
Yeah, curling it's kind of like chess on ice, but it combines also elements that are athletic. So it's 4 members of a team. It's the ultimate team sport that each player has an effect on the outcome of every single shot, because one person throws it, 2 people sweep, which can help maneuver the curl because the rock curves on the way down or curls. And one person calls the game, and you take turns with an opponent, and you each throw 16 stones, and you play 8 to 10 ends depending on the level. And it's there's a big target at the far end, and that's where you count the points. And it's just one of those ultimate team sports, but it's played on ice.
That's awesome. All right, so I want to kind of start at the end, and then we're going to take our listeners and our viewers back to the journey. But let's just take it to 2018, and you're the skip of the team, which is the captain of the team. And I guess, as I picked up as a fan, you guys were just grinding early. You're down, I think you were 2-4 in your first 6 matches, if I remember correctly, and then you just went on this run, and you beat Canada, you beat Switzerland in the finals, but to get there, you had to beat Great Britain, and you had to beat a whole bunch of others along the way. So can you play it out for us blow by blow? Just take us through the journey of the 2018 Olympics, the emotions of getting there, and then you're like, good God, we're down, and then the grind to ultimately end up on the podium.
Yeah, our team, we got together in 2014 and we had a bunch of success. I think we had finishes at the World Championships of a fifth, a third, and a fourth leading into that Olympics. So we kind of had a lot of confidence and got to the Olympics and we started 2-2. We won 2 games that we had chances to win, and we lost to Sweden, who we eventually played in the finals. But I had one really bad day against Japan and Norway, and we found ourselves 2-4, where you referenced to, and it was kind of at that point where our team kind of had like a coming together that we had done before many times, but once at our Olympic trials, to be clear about it. But at the Olympics, we kind of decided that wasn't, I personally decided that wasn't going to be my story, that I wasn't going to be, this guy of my disappointments from earlier Olympics, which I think we'll probably touch on. But, it was in that moment I made that decision, and I brought it to the locker room before we played Canada, which the U.S. had never beat Canada at the Olympics in curling. Men's, women's, mixed doubles hadn't happened. And when I brought that into the locker room, I just told the guys I was going to be the best version of myself I've ever been on the ice for that particular game, and I was going to enjoy being at the Olympics with my teammates, and if we should go out there and just try to be those best versions of ourselves and have the most fun we've ever had in a curling game and see what happens. And it also happened to be Matt's birthday, so Matt was all in. And yeah,
So I love,
and
yeah, I
we
love
went out
that,
there
man.
and it worked, and we took down Canada and got that that signature win, and I think we learned a lot about ourselves and what we needed to do to succeed, even though we had won a couple games already. But that was our first big win, and we just kind of took that and ran with it. And in every single game we went out there, and our backs were against the wall because we couldn't afford to lose another game. But we kind of maybe found the secret sauce, and rather than saying, okay, that was one game, what are we going to do to the next, we just took what we learned about the environment and the pressure and all that from that spot, and we rode it, and we got an Olympic gold medal to show for it.
Dude, I love hearing you say you're a gold medal winner and you say, look, I just had a bad day, right? And so you had a bad day, you lost a couple matches, and you got 2 choices. We all have bad days, right? You either pick it back up or you fold and go home. So that's awesome. I gotta kind of now take a step back, and I think part of what captured the imagination of all of us as fans in 2018, with me personally getting up at 4 a.m. to watch your matches, was just how improbable the journey was. And do you mind? I know you don't want to spend a lot of time on it, but just for the audience's sake, can you kind of take us back to your personal journey and the team journey from 2000, maybe 2010-ish or whenever, 14-ish, kind of the rejection, if you will, and just walk us through what happened to you before you ultimately made it to the 18 games?
Well, I mean, I think for me it started in 2006 on the podium. We were getting this Olympic medal. I got a bronze medal with our team in 2006, and it was on the podium where I was like, this is the greatest moment ever. And then I listened to Canada's national anthem, and I was like, all right, this wasn't what I was dreaming about, like winning an Olympic medal. I need to be an Olympic champion. And that was kind of like the start for me of where I thought my journey needed to go. And I left that team and I started skipping, and sure enough, we make it to the 2010 Olympics. And, a lot of people think that, I made it to where I was trying to go to get myself that chance to get back on top of the Olympic podium. But 2010 was, it was not good. We went 2-7. We finished last place at the Olympics, and that was probably the toughest moment of my life. And yeah, so I had to decide I wanted to curl again after 2010, and I finally got probably and made that decision. I was going to go after another Olympics, by late 2011, and built another team toward that 2014 Olympics, and we got there too, and similar results, 2-7, and it was after the 2014 Olympics that USA Curling decided they were going to pick teams as opposed to like we have always formed our own teams, much like small businesses kind of thing and startups. But they were going to now tell us who was on teams, and that's fine. And yeah, and so I went to the combine, trying to figure out who was going to be on my team, and I wasn't on one of those teams. There were 14 of us that were there, and they essentially didn't select 4 of the 14, and 3 of those 4 were John Landsteiner, lead of my 2014 and 2018 Olympic teams, Matt Hamilton, second of our 2018 Olympic team, and myself, who were 3 of the 4 people with the final cuts. And Tyler didn't even apply. Tyler George, who played third for us, he's like, that's not kind of his way of curling. He's more of an old school kind of guy. So, and that was again one of those moments, kind of like came along in 2018, where I remember getting the letter that said you're not part of our plans for the future, and that was where I was like, I can say okay, it's over, or I can figure out where I'm going to go from there. And it actually just lit the fire for me. I mean, it completely reignited my vision that I thought I knew what I needed to do to be successful in our sport, and I thought I was actually the best I'd ever been, and I was still getting better. So it was then took up that those 3 guys, and it took off from there. And we really embraced both being team reject and also the fact that we were going to work hard together to try to figure out how to do it. And yeah, 3 national championships and an Olympic gold medal, and I think we figured it out.
So you use the term team reject, not me. But I do recall always reading that you were like the band of misfits. That's what the press was saying quite a bit. So you as you just told us, you were rejected. The selection committee for 2018 said, "Hey, you're not on the list." And what happened? You went and built your own team, and how did you piece that together? How did you choose who you chose? Like, just tell us the mindset of team building, and then tell us, how the hell did you get back into the Olympics after they told you you're out?
Well, the beauty, I'm going to answer your last question first. The beauty of curling, and in our country at least, is the ability that you don't necessarily have to be the funded team on the national team to get there. They can't stop you from winning. So, we just knew that we could go win our way back into it. But to build the team, it started with, okay, every great curling team has a great back end, great skip, great vice skip. And, I'd played against Tyler George my entire life, and he's one of my really good friends, but we had never played together except for one time in juniors, and it did not go well. And I went and talked to Ty, and we said, okay, I think, if you want to do this, I want to do this. And now I'm re-energized, and I think, we should see what the 2 of us could do together, even if we just give it 1 year. And we both kind of agreed it was something we wanted to do. And then you got to piece together like what you think you need as a team and what we thought was still out there. Because 10 of our top players in our country were now part of the national team. So, we found out Matt got cut, and he said, I don't know if we can deal with the size of this guy's personality, but if we could ever capture it and really, move with it, it could be something that could be special. And we asked him to play, and he immediately said yes. And I think we were kind of both right about him. And we had a different guy who started as our lead, but Landsteiner decided to retire when he got cut. And 3 months of watching us, we were able to talk him back to coming onto the ice without too much. But that was really, for us, me and Ty just knew we needed some guys that were world class at their particular positions, and we had to figure out how that was going to work between the 2 of us. And we legitimately built from the time we formed our team, built. And I still think we were building when we got to the 2018 Olympics, really.
It's just an awesome story, and I love the parallels. It's personal for me too, because my last company was not the success I hoped it would be, and I think about how I put my team together for my current company, and it was not dissimilar. It was just getting folks off the bench, folks that maybe were in need of a look, and just a shared common cause, and such great things happen. We kind of shift gears a little bit, and as you're probably aware, of course you're aware, so many in our country are struggling right now between the social unrest and the pandemic and all the stuff that's happening. Many are out of work and that sort of thing. Like, just a little wisdom. Like, what did you kind of turn to lace up the boots, right? Get your right foot out the front, get out the front door at your lowest points.
I mean, the thing that really sticks out for me, in when it comes to that, I've had a lot of time to reflect about it, but I mean, I think when we were 2-4, and lost those two games at the Olympics, like that was kind of my personal pandemic moment where, like everything I had always worked for was kind of, I was watching it crumble, and realized maybe, at that point it wasn't too late, and it was kind of in that moment where I decided, instead of, I was doing it for myself and my curling team, and yeah, it had to do with the team, but I really sat there and I evaluated, you know, honestly, I wanted to give my kids 3 games that they could show their grandkids someday about their great grandpa, at the Olympics, of him doing what he loved the way he trained his whole life to do it. And whether we won or lost and whether we ended up with an Olympic gold didn't matter. And it was when we really thought about legacy as opposed to, TV cameras were rolling. I was more thinking about, my kids and my family, and doing what I needed to do to make them proud. I don't know. I think in this whole pandemic, we've really had a lot of focus, all over the country, and, with family, and me spending so much time with my kids, that I haven't been curling through this pandemic, has really made it, apparent to me that, if you really think about your legacy within your family, that, it can a lot of times guide you to decisions that you make outside of your family that, that'll work for you in life too. So, I mean, that's really where mine kind of went to, and I think the best advice I can give somebody now too.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. All right, so I gotta kind of go to a point with a little levity, and I just tell us what happened on that medal stand. Is that story true? And give us the play by play on when you got your gold medals after all the hard work.
So yeah, they hand out Olympic medals. They start with the bronze medal winning team, and then they go to silvers and golds. And and funny story, the Swiss guys won the bronze medals, and they stand skip to alternate, and then they're next to us on the podium, and so I'm standing next to the alternate of the Swiss team, who happens to actually live in the United States now and is actually one of my friends and speaks very good English. And they were sitting there talking, and when they got their medals and I got mine, he goes, "Hey, does your medal say women's curling on it too?" So I put my medal and I looked at him. I looked to him like, "Yep, definitely just got the women's curling gold medals," because they hadn't given them out yet. So, um, yeah, so I got to be a women's curling gold medalist, while we listened to the national anthem. But they quickly exchanged those out for us. But I like to give those Sweden ladies who won the gold a little, sorry, you got secondhand medals.
Oh, that is so good. I can only imagine that feeling when you've gone through everything you guys went through to actually be given the wrong medals in that in that moment. That is just too much.
I actually think one of us got the right medal. I think Joe ended up actually with a men's curling medal, but we had 4 women's medals.
Oh, that's just awesome.
Yeah.
All right, so and staying on the kind of fun track here, I hear there's a movie in the works, and attention from Hollywood is growing rapidly. Just the story has so much power, and there's just so much interest in you and the team's journey. Who would you love to play Shusty on the big screen?
I've thought about this. I've been asked this 100 times. I think, it wouldn't have to be, but like, because age is sometimes an issue. But I like Paul Rudd. I think his personality, where, for me, like, I don't know, I say anything that comes to my mind, kind of always wearing it on my sleeve, and yeah, I just think, kind of quick wit, but not necessarily known as like the comedian. Just like the way he is just kind of entertaining. I think Paul Rudd could do a good job.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. So fill us in on the plan for 22. Did the USC OC learn their lesson? Or are you going to have to prove them wrong again? How's this playing out?
Oh no, it's I don't think it was like learn their lesson, but yeah, we have our team is Tyler George retired. We brought on Chris Blyes, who was on the third on the team that we played against to get to the last Olympics. But yeah, we've been part of the national team, the kind of the main team going forward here. So we've won 2 straight national championships. We didn't get to go to World Championships last year, but we have the World Championships coming up here in April, and fingers crossed that they don't get canceled. And then Olympic trials will be in November, and there'll be 3 to 5 teams there, and if we come out on top of that, you can see us back, at the Olympics wearing the stars and stripes, and that's the plan, and we're working hard every day to be ready for trials when they come and the Olympics when they come.
Dude, that is so awesome. All right, well, on behalf of all of us, we're proud that you represent our country. Or we're proud that you won us our first goal, but we're as proud of the fact of how much you and the team persevered to get there. So, thank you so very much from all of us at CrossCheck, and we appreciate you taking the time with us today. So, thanks so much.
Thanks for having me, Mike.
So, thanks again, John, for joining us for today's CrossCheck check-in. You're a true story of grit and determination, and an awesome source of wisdom for all of us. And hey, for those of you out there that might want to connect with John and have him tell his story to your companies, you can email him at the address below. And in relation to CrossCheck, if you're interested in learning more about CrossCheck solutions, please visit us at www.crosscheck.com, or you can email me directly at fitz@crosscheck.com. Thanks again for taking the time to hear our stories about team building and how we can all do a better job of building organizations for unlimited success in our future. Thanks again. Talk soon.